All right, so you're studying abroad. That's awesome. Congrats on taking that huge step. I bet you're picturing like exploring new places and soaking up the culture, maybe picking up a new language, right?
Yeah, it's such an exciting time.
But before you get too caught up in all the fun stuff, we got to talk about something a little less glamorous.
Yeah, it's
Insurance.
important.
Right. We know it's not exactly the most thrilling part of planning your big adventure,
Definitely not.
but trust us, it's crucial. And we're here to break it all down for you in this deep dive. So we've got a bunch of articles, case studies, some expert opinions, the whole shebang. What's the big takeaway here? Why is insurance so important for students heading overseas?
Well, the main message is that insurance isn't just a nice to have, it's a must have. It's your safety net.
Yeah, your safety net. Okay, so you've probably budgeted for, flights and accommodation, all the exciting stuff. But have you factored in the potential cost of a medical emergency?
Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't think about.
Right. And those bills can really add up fast, especially when you're in a foreign country.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And that's where a key term comes in. Deductible.
The deductible. Yeah, I've heard of that. What is it again?
It's basically the amount you have to pay out of pocket,
Yeah.
before your insurance actually kicks in.
Okay, that makes sense.
So knowing your deductible in advance, well, that can really help you budget properly and avoid any surprises later on.
Yeah, surprises with medical bills are definitely not the kind of souvenirs you want to bring back from your trip.
Exactly.
So it's not just about having insurance, it's about really understanding the ins and outs of your policy, right?
Right. Another super important term you need to understand is claim procedure.
Oh, yeah, claim procedure.
That outlines like all the steps you need to take to file a claim and actually get reimbursed if you end up needing to use your insurance.
Gotcha.
So familiarizing yourself with this beforehand can save you a lot of stress if you're ever in a situation where you actually need to make a claim.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like reading the manual before you try to put together a piece of furniture, right?
Exactly.
Better to be prepared. Now, we've talked about financial risks, but the sources also mention this idea of peace of mind that comes with having insurance. How does that play into it all?
Well, imagine this. You're, exploring a new city, trying all the amazing food, just soaking it all in. But in the back of your mind, there's this nagging worry, like, what if I get sick? Or what if I lose my passport? That anxiety can really take away from the experience.
Totally, totally. It's like that feeling when you're about to go on a roller coaster. You're excited, but also a little nervous. You want the thrill, but you also want to know that you're like strapped in and secure.
Exactly. And insurance gives you that sense of security. It lets
Yep.
you embrace the adventure knowing you've got a safety net, just in case. So you can focus on, learning, exploring, making the most of this incredible opportunity.
Right, it frees you up to actually enjoy the experience. Okay, so we've established insurance is a must, and we need to understand those key terms. Deductibles, claim procedures, all that good stuff. But the sources also warn about some common pitfalls. What are some things students should watch out for?
One big one is assuming that your home country's insurance will just automatically cover you overseas.
Oh, really?
Sadly, that's often not the case.
Hmm.
Domestic insurance plans usually have very limited or sometimes no coverage abroad.
Hmm.
So it's super important to really check the fine print of your existing coverage and talk to your provider, see what's what.
Right, don't just assume. Another thing that stood out to me is this whole pre-existing conditions thing.
Yeah, that's a big one. A pre-existing condition is basically any health issue you have before you travel.
Right.
And some insurance policies might, exclude coverage for those conditions or made you pay a higher premium.
So it's really about having the right insurance. The insurance that actually addresses your specific needs and health history.
Exactly. And that's where research comes in. Don't just grab the cheapest plan you find. Take some time. Compare at least 3 plans, especially from providers that specialize in student travel.
Yeah, it's like shopping for a new phone. You wouldn't just buy the first one you see without comparing features, right?
Exactly. You got to find the one that fits your needs and your budget.
Okay, so research and comparison are key. What else?
Another thing the sources emphasize is understanding your policy's exclusions.
Exclusions.
Yeah, those are specific situations or activities that your insurance won't cover.
Like what? Give me an example.
Some policies, for example, might exclude coverage for extreme sports or certain high-risk destinations.
Ah, I see.
So you need to know what's covered, but also what's not.
Okay, that makes sense. It's all about reading the fine print and asking questions if anything's unclear.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Right. Right. Okay, so we've got the basics down. Why insurance is essential, those key terms, and some common pitfalls to avoid. Now let's talk about the different types of insurance available to students studying abroad. What are we looking at here?
Well, the sources break it down into three main categories:
Three main categories, okay.
health insurance, travel insurance, and life insurance.
All right, let's unpack those one by one, starting with, I guess, the most obvious, health insurance.
Makes sense. Health insurance covers medical expenses. If you need a checkup, if you get sick, or even if you have a more serious medical emergency.
And it's not just about covering doctor visits or hospital stays, right?
Right.
What about things like prescriptions, ambulance services, or even emergency medical evacuation?
Those are all important things to think about.
Yeah.
Different plans offer different levels of coverage, so make sure the plan you pick aligns with your specific healthcare needs.
Again, it's about research, 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 making sure the plan covers all those potential medical scenarios.
Yeah. And another thing, don't forget to consider your destination. Some countries have specific health insurance requirements for international students.
Oh, good point.
So you really got to research those requirements and make sure your plan meets them.
Okay, health insurance. Check. Next up is travel insurance. Why is this important for students studying abroad?
Well, travel insurance is designed to protect you from, those unexpected things that can happen while you're traveling, things that are often outside of your control,
Right.
like flight delays or
Right,
cancellations,
yeah.
lost or stolen luggage, or even, like political unrest or natural disasters that could disrupt your trip.
Right, those things you can't really plan for.
Exactly. Travel insurance can provide both financial and logistical support in those situations.
So it's not just about protecting your belongings, it's about having a plan B for when things go wrong.
Exactly. For example, if your flight gets canceled and you're stranded, travel insurance can cover your accommodation and your meals.
Oh, okay.
Or if your luggage is lost or stolen, it can reimburse you for essential items you need to replace.
Okay, so it's like having a backup plan for all those what-if scenarios.
Precisely. It helps minimize those travel headaches
Yeah,
and lets you focus on enjoying your experience.
got it. All right, health insurance, travel insurance. What about life insurance? Is that something students studying abroad need to think about?
It's less common than the other two, but it's worth considering,
Okay.
especially if you have dependents back home or want to provide financial security for your family in case of an unforeseen event.
So it's more about peace of mind for loved ones back home than about your expenses abroad.
Right. Life insurance provides a financial safety net for your beneficiaries, just in case.
Got it. So health insurance, travel insurance, life insurance, each with its own important role in protecting students abroad.
And remember, the specific types of coverage you'll need, well, that'll vary depending on your circumstances, your destination, and how long you're staying.
So once again, it's all about that personalized research, assessing your individual needs, thinking about your destination, and choosing a plan with the right level of coverage for you.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this, don't worry. There are resources available to help you figure it all out.
Yeah, like LetzStudy, right? They seem to be a great resource for students, helping them understand and get the right insurance.
Yeah, they offer personalized consultations, can explain those complex plans, and help you find the best fit for your needs and where you're going.
Sounds like having an expert in your corner can make a big difference.
Definitely can.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive. We've talked about why insurance is so important, those key terms to understand, and some common pitfalls to watch out for. We also went over the different types of insurance coverage available,
We did.
but there's so much more to uncover.
Definitely. Welcome back. So in the first part of our deep dive, we covered like the essentials of insurance, the why, the what, and how to dodge those common pitfalls. Now let's kind of shift gears a bit.
Yeah, let's get into some real life stuff.
Exactly.
The Let's Study case studies, these are great because they really bring this whole insurance thing to life. These are real students who faced unexpected challenges abroad, and it really underscores why being proactive is so important.
Right. Don't wait for something to happen to like figure out what your insurance covers.
Exactly.
Take the time now to review your policy, ask questions, make sure you've got the protection you need to feel confident and secure while you're abroad.
Totally agree.
One story that really stuck with me was a man whose experience in Japan. He was hiking with friends, and he had a pretty bad fall. Ended up needing to be airlifted to a hospital.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, turned out he had a fracture that needed surgery.
Ouch. That sounds painful. And I mean, being so far from home in that situation, that must have been scary.
It was. But thankfully, Manu had a really comprehensive travel insurance plan.
Really?
That covered the helicopter evacuation, his hospital stay, even the follow-up physiotherapy he needed back home.
Wow.
Without insurance, I mean, those expenses would have been astronomical.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a perfect example of how insurance provides, like, not just financial protection, but also real peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Knowing he had that safety net meant Manu could really focus on his recovery, without the added stress of worrying about how to pay for it all.
Totally. It's a huge weight off your shoulders when you
Mhm.
know you're covered. Okay, so we've got Manu's story. What other examples stood out to you?
Well, there's Sooth's story. She was studying in the UK and uh, developed a severe toothache.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it turned out she needed a root canal.
Oof, that's not fun.
Not fun at all. And as you can imagine, it's not a cheap procedure, especially in a country with a different healthcare system.
Yeah, dental work can be expensive enough here. I can only imagine the cost abroad.
Exactly. But luckily, Suze had done her research and chosen a student insurance plan that included dental coverage.
Nice.
So the plan covered a significant portion of the cost, and that saved her from a major financial setback.
That's great. It really highlights like the importance of that research and comparison phase.
For sure.
Choosing a plan that includes those unexpected situations can make all the difference.
Definitely. And it's not just about the big dramatic events either. The case studies also show how insurance can help with those like everyday mishaps, the things that can really disrupt your trip and drain your budget.
Give me an example.
Well, there's the story of Punish, who was studying in Canada.
Yeah.
He had his laptop stolen from his dorm room.
Oh man, that's the worst. A stolen laptop is like a huge academic setback.
It is.
Not to mention the financial hit of replacing it.
Exactly. But luckily, Punish insurance policy included coverage for personal belongings.
Mm.
So he filed a claim and got reimbursed for a new laptop,
Mm.
which meant he could get back to his studies, without that huge financial burden.
That's a lifesaver. So it's not just about the catastrophic stuff. It's about those little things that can throw you off track.
Absolutely. Insurance gives you that safety net for a whole range of situations, which helps you deal with challenges smoothly and focus on, your studies and your overall experience.
I like that, dealing with challenges smoothly. I feel like these case studies also really bring home the idea of insurance as an investment in peace of mind.
Right. It's not just financial protection. It's about that feeling of security, that freedom that allows you to fully immerse yourself in the experience.
When you're not constantly worried about what could go wrong, you can really be present. Take those chances, try new things, really engage with the culture.
Exactly. It's like the difference between, cautiously dipping your toes in the ocean and just diving right in. When you feel secure, you're more likely to really go for it and experience everything.
That's a great analogy. It's about approaching your study abroad experience with like a sense of adventure and openness, knowing you've got that safety net there.
Exactly. And speaking of support, the sources also point out the valuable role organizations like LetzStudy play in helping students navigate the sometimes complicated world of insurance.
Right. Let's Study can be like, I don't know, like those experienced scuba divers who can guide you through the coral reefs, pointing out the hidden gems and helping you avoid the hazards.
Exactly. They offer that personalized guidance, explain all the jargon,
Mm.
and help you choose a plan that aligns with your needs and your budget. They've helped tons of students like Manu, Soothe, and Punish.
Yeah,
Find the right coverage, navigate that claims process, and they can help you too.
that's great. So beyond the personal benefits, the sources also talk about the bigger picture, like the broader implications of insurance for students studying abroad.
Yeah, for sure. One interesting point they make is that insurance can actually enhance cultural immersion.
Oh, that's interesting. How so?
Well, if you're constantly worried about getting sick or having an accident and, what it'll cost, you might be less likely to really engage in certain activities or explore different areas.
I see.
You might stick to the well-trodden tourist paths and miss out on those authentic, off-the-beaten-track experiences.
Right, the stuff that really lets you connect with the local culture.
Exactly. But when you have that security that comes with insurance, you're more likely to venture off the beaten path, try new foods, interact with locals, really immerse yourself in the culture without that fear holding you back.
It's like the difference between reading about a place and actually experiencing it. Insurance gives you that freedom to explore without those limitations.
Exactly. It lets you be an active participant, not just a passive observer.
Okay, so we've talked about the personal benefits of insurance, the societal implications, and even its role in fostering like a global mindset. It's more than just a financial safety net.
Definitely. It's a tool that empowers students to embrace the transformative power of international education and become more, globally engaged citizens.
Now, before we move to the final part of our deep dive, I'm curious about something. We've talked a lot about the good stuff, the benefits, but are there any, like, drawbacks or criticisms mentioned in the sources?
That's a great question. And yes, the sources do mention some potential downsides. One is that insurance can sometimes create a false sense of security. You know, it can lead some students to engage in riskier behavior.
So it's like, just because you have insurance doesn't mean you should be reckless.
Exactly. Insurance is a safety net, not a free pass to take unnecessary risks.
Right. What else?
Another potential downside is that, the whole process of researching and comparing all those insurance plans, it can be a bit overwhelming.
Especially for students who are already juggling a million things as they prepare to study abroad.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's where resources like LetzStudy can be so helpful.
Definitely. They can guide students toward the right coverage and make the whole process less intimidating.
Okay, so it's about being aware of the potential downsides, but also knowing there are ways to, like, minimize them.
Exactly. Be informed, understand the limitations, and use insurance as a tool to support a responsible and fulfilling experience abroad.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in the second part. Personal benefits, societal implications, even some potential downsides to keep in mind.
We have.
But there's still more to discuss. Okay, so we've really gone deep into this whole world of insurance for studying abroad. We've covered the why, the what, the how, even some of those, like, potential pitfalls and criticisms. Now it's time to bring it all together. What are the big takeaways here?
Yeah, let's recap. I think one of the most important things to remember is that insurance, it's not one size fits all, right? It's all about personalized research, really thinking about what you need, and then choosing a plan that actually works for your situation, your destination, and your budget.
It's like, we wouldn't just buy a pair of shoes without checking if they fit.
Exactly.
Same goes for insurance. Got to make sure it fits your needs.
Exactly. And remember, that research phase involves comparing, like, at least 3 different plans.
Right, at least 3.
Especially from providers that specialize in student travel.
Yeah.
And don't just focus on the price tag, right? Look deeper into what each plan actually covers, especially those student-specific benefits, like mental health services or coverage for adventure activities, that kind of thing.
Right, those are important. And speaking of things to consider, we can't forget about those exclusions, those situations or activities that your insurance might not cover.
Yeah, those are tricky.
It's so important to really read that fine print carefully, make sure there are no surprises lurking there when you need to make a claim.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And beyond all the nitty-gritty details of coverage, we also talked about those less tangible but equally important benefits of insurance, right? That peace of mind and that enhanced cultural immersion it can bring.
Yeah, I really like that idea of insurance as an investment in peace of mind. It allows you to really embrace the adventure, take those risks, try new things, dive into the experience, because you've got that safety net, like having a good friend watching your back while you're exploring a new city.
I like that, a good friend watching your back. That's a great way to put it. And that sense of security can actually lead to, like, a deeper cultural immersion.
Right, because you're not so worried about what might go wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're more likely to step off the beaten path, talk to locals, try new foods, really get a feel for the culture without that fear holding you back.
Okay, so we've got the practical side, the research, the comparison, understanding your coverage, and then we've got that peace of mind side, which can really enrich the whole experience. Anything else we should touch on before we wrap things up?
Don't forget about those resources that are out there to help you through this process.
Yeah, like LetzStudy.
Exactly. Like LetzStudy is great. They can offer that personalized guidance, break down those complex concepts, and help you find the right plan for your needs and your destination. They're like seasoned travelers, sharing their insider tips to help you avoid those common pitfalls.
Yeah, they're like your study abroad insurance gurus.
Exactly.
Now, before we say goodbye, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. We talked a lot about the tangible benefits, right? But what about the intangible ones? How might having insurance influence your overall perspective on, like, risk and responsibility as a global citizen?
Ooh, that's a good question. Does it make you more or maybe even less likely to step outside of your comfort zone? Does it affect how you think about taking care of yourself while you're abroad?
It's like, you're standing at the edge of a diving board, about to take the plunge. Does knowing you have a safety net, does that make you more hesitant to jump or less?
Yeah. That's a really interesting thing to think about. How does insurance fit into your idea of what it means to be a global citizen? How does it play into your role in this big, complicated world?
It's like insurance isn't just a practical thing. It's a way for us to look at our own attitudes and behaviors as global citizens.
Well said. And with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into insurance for studying abroad. Hopefully you're feeling more informed, more empowered, and ready for this incredible adventure.
For sure, remember, insurance is an investment in your peace of mind, in your well-being, and in your whole study abroad experience. So choose wisely, do your research, and don't hesitate to reach out to those helpful resources like LetzStudy.
And most importantly, embrace the journey. Be confident, knowing that you've taken the steps to protect yourself and make the most of this amazing opportunity.
Safe travels to all our future Globetrotters out there. And remember, we'll be here for your next deep dive, whatever fascinating topic that might be.